Welcome to another episode of Tech Talks with Fairview. I'm your host, Rich Kruger, the System Director of Data Technologies here at Fairview Health Services. Today, we're diving into a topic that's becoming a game changer in AI, prompt engineering. And who better to discuss this than with our very own IT Vice President, leading data management and analytics, with responsibility for IT financial operations, AI, and automation, Mr. Adam Carville. Welcome, Adam.
Thanks, Rich. Always a pleasure to chat, especially when it's not about budget problems.
Ha ha ha, no arguments there. So let's get right into it. Prompt engineering, it sounds technical. But what exactly is it, and why does it matter for health systems like ours?
Great question. Prompt engineering is the practice of crafting inputs that guide AI tools, like ChatGPT, Copilot, or any large language model, to produce useful, accurate results. If you ask the right way, you get results that are relevant, trustworthy, and aligned to your task. Think of it like talking to a very smart intern who knows a lot but needs very clear instructions.
So it's kind of like giving GPS directions. If you say, "Take me somewhere good," who knows where you'll end up?
Exactly. Especially in healthcare, where nuance and context are everything. We can't afford for AI to hallucinate or be vague. We need precision, grounding, and relevance.
So, I've come across this framework: goal, return format, warnings, and context dump. Can you walk us through how that works?
Absolutely. It's actually a fantastic starting point and aligns really well with OpenAI's own prompt engineering guidance. Let's break it down. Goal. Tell the AI exactly what you want. Instead of "tell me about hypertension," a better prompt would be, "Summarize the latest clinical guidelines on treating hypertension in adults over 65, based on studies published after 2021. Return format. Tell the model how you want it to answer. Be clear about what you want returned, such as, "Give me a bullet point list with treatment categories, recommended medications, and links to source material." Warnings. Set guardrails. Think of this as prompt hygiene. A decent input might be, "Avoid using unverified sources. No generic definitions. Focus on U.S. guidelines only." Context dump. Include any relevant background that helps the model generate something tailored. This is usually the bulk of your prompt and tells the model from what perspective to evaluate and fulfill the request. For this scenario, a good start might be, "Fairview Health serves an aging population in both urban and rural Minnesota. We're designing decision support tools for primary care providers, etc."
That's gold. It turns the prompt from a fishing expedition into a precise ask. So let's talk real world. Can you give an example from our AI projects?
Sure. Let's say we're using AI for risk prediction. If a clinician wants insights on patients at risk of sepsis, they might ask, "What are sepsis risk factors?" Which is vague. Instead, a refined prompt could be, "Based on ICU patient data from our EHR and current surviving sepsis campaign guidelines, list the top 5 early indicators of sepsis with references to studies published since 2020. That small shift from generic to specific, with format, warnings, and context, makes the AI's output far more useful.
That's fantastic. And I imagine that prompt engineering isn't a one-and-done deal.
Not at all. That's one of OpenAI's key best practices. Iterate. You might start with a rough prompt, then refine it after seeing the output. Think of it like collaborating with the AI. Ask, review, improve. And now we're seeing more advanced strategies like chain of thought prompting, where the AI explains its reasoning step by step. Few-shot prompting, where you give a couple examples to guide the format. Grounded prompting, where AI ties responses to your internal data, like our EHR or financial systems.
And I imagine this all translates well into Copilot, right? Whether it's summarizing a meeting in Teams or drafting a budget email in Outlook.
Absolutely. The same rules apply to Copilot. Be specific about the task. Define how the answer should look. Provide context like, "This is a quarterly ops review," or "We're presenting to finance." And ask follow-up questions to refine the output. For example, in Excel, summarize year-over-year spend in the pharmacy category and highlight anomalies above 10%. Or in Outlook, draft a response confirming the decision and restating the next steps.
You're basically turning AI from a guessing game into a guided assistant.
Exactly. And the benefits in healthcare are massive. Faster analysis, improved documentation, better decision support, and real-time insight generation.
Before we wrap up, any advice for IT leaders starting to experiment with prompt engineering?
Definitely. Here's a cheat sheet. 3 takeaways. 1. Be specific. Vague prompts equals vague answers. Define your goal clearly. 2. Iterate and collaborate. Refine your prompt based on what the AI returns. It's a process, not a one-liner. 3. Use with purpose. Validate outputs. Make sure what you generate supports real decisions, backed by data and clinical guidelines.
Perfect. This isn't about making cool toys. It's about making real tools that support our clinicians, our patients, and our operations.
100%. And the better we get at prompting, the more value we unlock from AI.
Well, Adam, as always, thank you for the insight, and I'll try not to get replaced by a bot before our next budget meeting.
Ha ha ha. If one shows up with a balanced budget and no line item conflicts, I'll hand over my badge.
You and me both. Thanks to all our listeners for joining another episode of Tech Talks with Fairview. Until next time, stay curious and keep innovating.